Alright, welcome to another edition of the Track Review. Alright, today we're going to take a look at Scalextric's new HO track design, whatever. If you've been keeping track, they basically dumped Micro Scalextric and came out with this new track system. This ostensibly is HO scale, like they point out here, 1/64th. But the cars are redesigned and the track has a little bit of redesign as well. These are a braided pickup system, so they've redesigned the track to be very compatible with that. These are intended primarily, as the thing says here, my first Scalextric. It's targeted specifically to little kids, 4, 5, 6 years old, pretty typical Christmas or birthday gift. You got a little figure 8 track, nothing too complicated, and it's battery operated. It takes 6 AA batteries, and let's see what else. I think they've got a couple of other sets with other characters. I don't have the sheet in front of me right now, but anyway, we picked this one up. This one actually came brand new in the box from Slot Car Central. Good friends up there, so let's open this thing up and see what it looks like. Okay, so they give you a nice little holder with all the track stuff to go in. I guess you got some cardboard cutouts, speed controllers, good for little hands. They seem to be pretty good. We got our battery box here, and as you can see, this track is a little different than most HO tracks. This is flush. It's more of a 1/32 sort of pickup system in that the braided pickup should work well on. And let's see, get these cars out. There's Bugs Bunny. And as you can see, it's got braided pickups. So let's take some further investigation here and see what we got. Alright, the back of the box is somewhat interesting considering what the set is targeted towards. It does say magnet traction on here, so I guess the cars do obviously have magnets in them to track the rails. Super resilient cars. I guess it means you can kick them around a little bit. They're not going to get hurt too bad. And the speed controllers, they say, have kind of a progressive system here, 25, 50, 75, 100%, so a young driver can kind of get the feel for how to drive a car without, because little kids, they just want to mat the throttle and go in that. Collect all of them. I guess there's some different things. I haven't seen Roadrunner and Coyote yet, but they say it's out there. So let's get this thing set up and see how it runs. Alrighty, race fans. We got this thing set up in about record time, which actually I would think is to be expected. From start to finish, 7 minutes. 7 minutes to set this thing up, and for what it's intended to do for a really young kid, you just can't beat that. I still think maybe an adult's necessary to get the thing put together. The track pieces require a little bit of dexterity and strength to get them pushed together, but they work really, really well. And like I say, 7 minutes to get the stuff out, get the batteries in, and get running. Some of the things that I've reviewed have taken hours. In fact, if you go back and look at the Marchand sets that I did, the Skyfighters I think was one, and then more recently Canyon of Doom, they literally took an hour or more to set up with all the various puzzle pieces or whatever. But I think right out of the box here, for what this set's intended, Micro Scalextric really retooled everything to target a really young audience, and in that regard, this one may be a home run. Micro Scalextric, or Scalextric I should say, they're owned by Hornby. They are not known to make junk, and this set is not junk. It's made very well. All the pieces are molded extremely well. The cars actually are put together very well. They're simple, but they are put together. It's a quality product. They're molded well, assembled well. I mean, I've seen a lot of cheap Chinese stuff come across, and although this is made in China, it does not qualify for some of that low-end cheap Chinese throwaway stuff. So we'll get running some cars here in just a second. Alright, well, we made a phone call and we got our test driver Ernest T. Bass in from out of town, and we're going to have him drive these cars. One of the things he's going to do, he's going to demonstrate the selective power setting on the controller, so you can kind of get an idea of how well they control the power. Alright, have at it. Push that car up a little bit, the yellow one. Yeah, there you go. And that's at 25%. And then you go to 50%.
Yeah, 4 settings.
That's 50%.
Well, that's we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 settings. So
yeah, it's 25, 50, 75, and 100.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be 50.
Okay.
75.
And that's nailed, right?
That's nailed.
Okay. And 100%?
100%.
You about can't hardly drive it off. That's pretty good. So what happens when you try to drive both cars?
Both cars at 100%.
Oh, lost one. Lost two.
Lost 2.
Alright, well, Ernest informed me that I had the track put together wrong, and indeed I did. I didn't have the lane colors matched, but at the time I wasn't concerned about that. I was just trying to see how quickly I could get it put together. So basically we swapped ends on the turns, and that got the lane colors correct, and as you can see, it does look a little better now. So the yellow car's on the yellow, and the red's on the red, and that corresponds with the controller colors. So from that standpoint, we're ready to race. All right, so what power setting are you on?
75.
75?
I set it to 75.
Set it to 75. That's pretty much matted at 75%. So if you're a little kid, that's probably pretty good where you can get that kind of speed out of the car and not have the thing fly off the track.
One of them slowed down a little bit.
Now the thing's running off a battery, so we're probably getting the voltage drop pretty quick.
Well, one car is like, the red car specifically, I think a little bit slower.
Yeah. All right, try it at 100%. Both of them at 100% and see what happens. Does that make a lot of difference? Takes a while for them to kind of get up to speed.
Well, I'm purposefully like slowing it so they don't just like fly off. All right. I mean, if I just like, I just match both of them.
Even at 100%, they don't fly off.
No, this. The yellow one specifically is faster.
Yellow car is faster.
In the controller or what, but like, the red controller seemed to be more sensitive, but the yellow controller seemed to like not go.
Right.
I just press it more and then get it speed up. I don't know.
Okay.
And the red car might have lost a little bit of speed.
Well, I think all in all, I mean, from what I can see, I think for young racers, you know, and a parent, and then young racers, this set's pretty good. The cars run good. Track looks like it's very robust. So I think for what you pay for these, it might be pretty strong value. All right, well, our test driver, Ernest T. Bass, has some observations. They may be about the same as mine, but we'll let him tell you what he thinks about the set.
So this set does seem very good for younger kids. The lane colors and the track configuration is very good. The controllers are numbered to the inputs, so you know the number 2 controller goes to the number 2 slot. The controller is yellow, which matches the yellow lane. Car is yellow, which matches the yellow lane. And the arrows show which direction the cars are supposed to go in. So for a little kid, that should be pretty easy. That the yellow car goes in the yellow lane on the direction that it goes with, and the yellow controller controls it. So it's all very intuitive and should be fairly easy for a younger kid to understand.
All right, well, we may have some more comments and wrap this thing up here in a couple minutes. All right, so let's wrap up this edition of the track review and put a bow on it. We've been looking at Scalextric's My First Scalextric track set, Looney Tunes race set, and it really surprised me at how well this thing does its job. This is going to be a bold statement by me, but this, I believe, for what it's intended to do, may be the best set on the market to accomplish that. I don't think Tomy or Autoworld has anything that really hits the mark as to what you got to have for an entry-level kids set. Some kid that's 7, 8, 9 years old that doesn't know how to drive or whatever else. It really, really does do a fantastic job. It's engineered well. It's manufactured well. It has a retail price point of about $50. Some people are advertising that shipped. Other people have a little lower price plus shipping. So at that point, I mean, you about can't go wrong. And I put this thing together in about 7 or 8 minutes. It's not complicated. It works. Pop the batteries in it. The cars are actually very well put together. One note on the cars, these are designed to run at 9 volts on this track. If you try to run them on any other track at full voltage, they're so fast that they just don't stay on. They don't have enough downforce. They're just not meant to run at 12, 14, or even 18 volts. Now, if you had an adjustable power supply, you could certainly do that. The guide pin or the guide flag is a little on the long side. It'll work on a Tomy track, but if you were to put it on a Tyco or a Lifelike or something like that, you'd have to trim the guide pin down so it doesn't bottom out on the track. But all in all, this thing really, really hits the mark on what it's intended to do. And like I said again, I think it may be the best kids set on the market today. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching.